But what I do appreciate out of soO, more so than Alive, Keen, Armani, even TY, is that soO's very active. soO is very active, and he does play from time to time in the ESL Open Cups and in KSL as well, which is more than I can say for the other Quangdong Freak players that I just mentioned, like Keen and again, Armani back before he retired, and TY as well. And even Stats. I think soO is more active than Stats in these online weeklies. So I do appreciate that. I do always appreciate that. And here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkion. And we have our blue Zerg player representing Team Vitality. His new team, it is soO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing the Quangdong Freaks. It is soO. Also, I apologize. It was just my reflex. No longer on the Quangdong Freaks. I believe soO is now teamless. I believe Quangdong Freaks let go of most of their players. I think the only player they still have is TY, I think, because TY does represent them in Brood War. Let's just double check. But I do know that a lot of players did leave Quangdong Freaks. Just double checking here. Yes. Basically, Quangdong Freaks, they let go of their entire roster except for TY, because of ASL or Brood War. Meanwhile, we do have soO going for a hatch first. Yes, but he's rushing into the gold. This is what's difficult about this map. Alkion and a ZvZ can be a knife fight here. Rushing into the gold base. soO is soon about to confirm this. Overlords are moving out. His first Overlord is going straight to the natural. Will confirm the natural is missing. The second Overlord can then confirm that the gold base has been taken as well. So soO will soon piece together what's going on. He himself went for a hatch gas pool, standard opener out of soO, so he won't be able to punish this yet, but he's going to need to, otherwise soO will get out of control, as he does main out over and he is already saturating this gold base. Oh boy, it is up and running. There we go, Overlord does confirm that the gold has been taken. soO fully aware of what's been happening. And we'll see if soO can deal with this, because there it is, Roach Warren has been thrown down. Now, thankfully, soO sees it. He does confirm the Roach Warren. He's now fully aware that this is a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in out of soO. Usually in ZvZ, if you take the gold, it's to either go for a Ling Bane all-in or a Roach Rush. Like, both are viable, and you do want to just go all in. And basically what this does is it's a good way to take advantage of the gold base early on. It's also a good way to defend against the gold, because you're forcing the opposing player to stay at home, to be stuck back at home defending, to allow you to get this up and running. So soO is going for the all-in. soO back at home goes for his third base for Lava, is happily droning up. Now he can defend against this with Queen Ling. He may need a Spine Crawler at his natural. Ooh, going for his own Roach Warren. Okay, staying on one gas, saturating at least half of his natural base, and we are flooding Lings. So he's flooding out Lings right now. His goal here is hope. Is to surround these roaches once they do pop out. Roaches, they are on the way. Again, soO only on one gas as well. He's going for roaches as the backbone to his army, and Lings to support. There we go, we are moving out. soO going to be pulling back. Going to try to defend. He's keeping up with these Lings at least. Does get a lot of damage done on them. But again, he cannot engage, not yet, not prematurely. As the third base does finish, it is under threat. Queens are going to be coming in to support. Queens are waddling on forward. Roaches are in production for soO. He may have to give it this base. Yeah, the base is going to be going down. soO going to try to make use of those broodlings. He engages with the Lings. He's going for the surround. He's trying to surround those roaches. We have reinforcements coming in, and it looks like the roaches stepping might be a little bit too good. No, we do get on top of some of the roaches. Oh, it's so close. We get one. One roach goes down. Oh, that was quite a big investment. Sorry, 2 roaches went down for 28 Lings. A brutal trade for soO. soO retains his roach count. He's droning. He's getting a third base. soO, he's backing off. He is content killing the third and then retreating. soO, he does back the hell off. And with this, soO can get ahead. He's got the gold base, so he's got better mining going on. He's got the faster third base. It's already up and running. He has the Roach lead. soO is looking in control, and now soO has to find a way to come back. Now, there are a couple of things that we can whip out here. We can try to bypass, or try to bypass the army and hit the gold. Like, the gold is quite exposed. We could do the opposite and bypass the gold and go straight for the third base instead. The problem here is that soO, he's done droning. He droned up a little bit. He saturated his, not even fully saturated his main. He droned up to 24, and now he's going for a second all-in. soO is going for a second all-in, this time with a couple of Ravagers. More Roaches on the way, more Lings, and soO is droning. Oh, soO, he's droning up a little bit too much. He's working on a third base. Little does he know that soO is still all in. Ay. Now, thankfully, soO is cutting workers at 33, and hopefully he doesn't make any more from here. soO has arrived. Bow not quite connecting. Ravager survives for soO. Does make it out. Lings, they're going to be coming in to reinforce. Wiles, going to be connecting on some Lings as well. soO. And we see soO trying to collapse on this army. Won't be able to. Is being forced back. soO, he has an overwhelming amount of Lings, but he cannot actually make use of it. He needs to get on top of these Roaches. On top of soO's army. The longer this goes on, the better it is for soO. Lings are going down. soO trying to collapse on this. The Vials. Doing it with their friendly fire. And it looks like soO, he's running out of steam. He's running out of Lings. And soO, he's holding. He has the better concave. He has the defender's advantage. And soO, we are holding on to that ramp. To that third base. Queens aren't going down. But only the Queens. Again, good splitting there out of soO. Cleans this up, forces this back. And now soO is miles ahead. +1 range is about to kick in when we're remaking the Queens. We're joining up. Making 4 workers at a time. soO's in a beautiful position, and soO's still all in. Like, from this moment, soO can't drone. Not anymore. He cannot drone. If he drones, he's dead anyway. So the all-in is the only thing he can hope for. Basically, soO, he's hoping that maybe soO overdrones. Maybe soO stops making units, but we can see that's not the case. soO, he is droning, but he's sprinkling in Roaches and Lings here and there. He still has an army. So things are looking worse and worse for soO. Things are looking a bit dire for him. He's going to try to go in with his army. Collapsing on the Roaches. Shows the Vials. Oh, not connecting. Good splits out of soO. Yeah, avoids the Vials. Lings, though, they finally got on top of the Roaches. Up. soO. He finally got on top of the Roaches. Big Vials here on the Queens, but there's just still not enough. Yeah, the macro of soO is too good here. 6 drones did go down in the defense. A couple of boys were pulled. But soO is still up 10 workers. And soon to be up 14. Soon to be up 14 here as we do see soO going to be engaging. Oh, Vials grazing the army, but yeah, it's not going to be enough again. We have a solid wall set up by soO. GG gets called, and soO takes game number 1. GG. Let's go. Now, to be fair, again, this was soO trying to go for an all-in, and soO, he scattered all of it. Remember, he saw the goal base, he saw the Roach Warren, he was able to muster up a defense in time. I was concerned he was over-droning after the initial killed third. If you remember, so, okay. The initial attack from soO was successful. Remember, he killed the third base, and then soO got ahead. He got ahead in workers, and he got ahead in bases because of his third. soO had a choice. soO, he made a choice after he killed the third base. Either we extend our lead and drone and just get ahead and stay ahead, or we end the game and we go for a follow-up all-in and we kill our opponent before they can really get things going. So it was a risky choice there by soOO. He chose to go for the all-in, and soO was droning, but he got away with it. He thankfully did not overdrone. He realized that his opponent was going for a second all-in, and soO was able to prepare for it with his roaches, with his ravagers, with his queens. And after that second defense, things were looking dire for soOO. GG. GG, well played. Solid defense there, solid game out of soO. Despite the rough start, he did recover from that. And again, soOO, you know, he kind of made his bed and he had to sleep in it there. And, yeah, it didn't quite work out in the end. And I'm sure now he's going to be a little bit more passive. We're getting into game number 2. This is a best of 3. It's a best of 3 series. You know, any more mistakes and soO will advance on instead of soOO, which would be crazy, by the way. Which would be insane, but here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our blue Zerg player. Representing Team Vitality, it is soOO. He's down in this series, one more loss, and he is out of the tournament. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg, the teamless Zerg player. It is soO. Here we go. The puns. I'm looking at the YouTube chat. Someone said he's miles ahead. Oh, you're an animal. You're an animal, Poppy. soO going for a pull first. Very interesting. Okay, going for a pull first. This is a safe opener out of soO. I imagine this is going to be a pull hatch gas opener, which is just a way to get fast lings and fast queens out. So with this, you're going to be able to have a really good defense and really good start against something like a 12 pool or 13-12 or a gas first. Just a safe way to open up here from soO. Meanwhile, soOO is opening up hatch gas pool. So soOO has the better economy. soO is going to be safer, but falling behind in the economy. Now, what he may do, still no gas. Interesting. Okay, still no gases by soO. It's a gasless opener. It is a gasless opener. This is going to be leading into 2 ace roach. Lings are moving out. He makes 6 lings, so he is investing quite a bit. What he's going to be doing here, he's hoping to kill some drones. He's going to get across the map, and his goal is to kill 1, 2, maybe 3 drones here at the natural. That's the ideal. That is like the perfect scenario here for soO with these lings, as he is going to be pushing across the map. At the same time, behind this, he's going to be delaying any gases, saturating on 2 bases, walling off on 2 bases and going 2 base roach, or 2 base muta, like 2 base play essentially from soO. That is what this will become. Meanwhile, lings are moving out across the map. They're going to be heading towards that natural. soOO has spotted the lings. He still hasn't evacuated the drones. Interesting choice. There we go. He's going to pull away, but he's going to be losing a worker. At least he should lose at least 1. Good movement there out of soOO. Does slow down those lings. Does buy time for the drones to escape. And he does escape with the drones. Does keep them alive. Gets into the mineral line. And so far the drone drilling. Oh my god. Very nice drilling there out of soOO. Losing 1 drone against 3 lings. And that was a good defense. Good defense here by soOO. As we mentioned, soO was hoping for a little bit more damage to make that worth his while. You can see that soO is up 2 drones. He's up 2 workers, but he is just now taking his gases. So from here, the game is going to stabilize. We spoke about how this should be 2 base roach, which means we should be walling off. We should be walling off here at the natural. The reason why we're going to be walling off, and the reason why we're playing 2 base, no ling speed. Because we open up gasless, there's no ling speed available here for soO, which means he cannot contest against the map control of soOO. He cannot take his 3rd base. There's no way to hold on to it, nor without ling speed, which is why we're staying on 2 bases and going into roaches. So soO is kind of limited in his builds right now. There's a lair on the way. So far we have 2 gases, taking a 3rd gas. If we take all 4 gases, this could be a fake 2 base roach, and it could be 2 base muta, and we could hide a spire in the main. So there is that option available for soO as well. Behind this, soOO are going to be taking a 3rd, droning up. He has map control. He's containing his opponent to 2 bases, so he is free to just saturate everything, take his own gases, +1 range is on the way for both players, so it looks like we are not faking out roaches, we are committing to roach play from both soO and soO. Now we can throw down a Spire later on down the line, but we're not going to be committing to Muta play. If we do throw down a Spire, it's going to be like for 5 or 6 Mutas just to shut down Overlords and to harass Mineral Lines. Not to commit. The Queen, oh my god, the Queens, they did move out. Lings, they try to go for a scout. Roaches come out just in time. And soO is forced back. Finally, soO can expand. With the arrival of these Roaches, we can hold on to the third. soO being a nuisance, but soO will hold. Now, the advantage that soO has here is, one, or he didn't waste gas on link speed, so he's a little bit more efficient with gas spendage, which means he has faster lair, faster roach speed. There's going to be a timing here where he has roach speed and soO doesn't, but as you can see, it's quite a small window. It's a very small window here, so I'm not too sure if it's really going to be that advantageous for soO. Now, from here, soO can go into a 2-base roach all-in. What I mean by that, soO could choose not to drone this third. He could choose to just keep this third unsaturated, only use it for larva, and just max out on roaches and move out across the map. Or we can just drone. We can just drone up, we can fake a push. It looks like we are faking a push, by the way. So we're just going to be droning up. You can see that soO, he has 5 drones on the way. He reveals the roaches to the overlords. Again, vision is a resource that you can use against your opponent in ZvZ. So we reveal the army, we're posturing, we're moving out, we're forcing soO to make roaches, we're forcing soO to cut drone production, and then soO from here should turn back around. He should not engage, he should not fight. As you can see here, he picks off a tumor, then backs off. Again, just a fake out from soO. This entire time he's been droning, and again, that's kind of the game of ZvZ. Because both players, because lava is used to make drones and units, because lava is like a universal kind of production, forcing your opponent to make roaches means that they fall behind economically. Like that's kind of the game of ZvZ, is forcing out a response, faking out responses, all that good stuff. As soO does the same. He moves out, then he pulls back. soO was droning. Like, soO had no intention of committing to a fight. He was just forcing soO to make roaches, because what if soO was committing, right? What if he was attacking? So, again, there's a lot of games of chicken that take place here in Roach v Roach. You can see that soO, unfazed, still droning. soO, because of his fake out, takes a worker lead. He's on 67 drones already. soO still on 56, still playing catch up. And we can make a choice from here. I mean, we should have a fourth. A fourth should be on the way for Larva, at least. We're working towards 2-1. Ooh, soO will have better upgrades, but the contamination, let's go! The contamination on +2 is huge. Big delay here for soO. soO happily working on his own upgrade. Again, these... Oh my, the second contamination! Bappy. So, delaying upgrades is huge in a mirror matchup. Like... If there's like a couple of seconds where you have +2 and your opponent doesn't, that could be everything. Meanwhile, soO going to be going for some Drop Lord harass across the map. +2 eventually will get on the way. soO will finish up +2 first. Ideally, you want to hit a +2 timing, but +1 carapace is still a ways off, and soO may be feeling a little bit uncertain about that. Here we go, Drop Lord is on the way. Likewise, both players just focusing on maxing out here on Roach Ravager. We have Burrow and Tunneling Claws on the way for soO, alongside Drop Lord play. So soO, he's being a little bit more creative with his army. He's being a little bit more flexible. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. You can see soO, he's just dancing with the roaches. He's distracting soO while the Drop Lords come into play. There it is, Drop Lord into the main base. Trying to keep soO's attention in the center of the map. Roaches are going to be dropped off. They do get a queen. Not bad. Queen goes down. And the Overlord will escape. Oh, barely fly away. Roach Ravager army is going to be bouncing off each other. Oh, we're going to be committing. soO does have the better upgrades. Remember, +1 carapace is still on the way, and we do go for a run by. soO slips into the natural. Does slip in. It looks like the main army isn't finding too much ground here. He's being forced back. But again, he called queens. He called queens. He's got Tunneling Claw roaches. He is being cleaned up, though. but he does still get a couple of extra drones here at the third base. He is dealing economic damage, trying to pounce on the main army of soO. Oh, and he does catch him. Yeah, soO not paying attention there, losing 5 drones back at home. soO going to be rotating around, moving out towards that 4th. Moving towards the 4th base. Biles are going to be connecting, but soO, he has too much. He's breaking through. Against soO, he committed a little bit too many roaches to defend. He had less supply on the front lines. And sometimes that's all it takes. Ooh, as reinforcements finally come in, soO being forced back. Oh, the Biles. Oh my god. soO is forced back for a moment. Once again, taking another fight. Reinforcements are coming in. More drones going down in the main. Again, 2 borrowed roaches. That's all it takes. They kill 7 drones in the main base. They take down the queen as well. The main army of soO is being forced back, but he's crippling the economy. soO, he's up 10 workers. His reinforcements, he's snowballing out of control. He collapses on the army from both ends. GG gets called, and soO takes game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. GG. Again, both players were playing similarly. I mean, they had different openers, yes, but the mid game, they were kind of evening things up. Again, really nice contaminations out of soO, but because soO had the higher drone count, because he had the better economy, what was soO spending that money on? What was he spending it on? Drop Lords, Burrow, and Tunneling Claw Roaches. And you saw that even though he was in many ways struggling to gain ground with his main army, he was just constantly harassing with the Drop Lord Roaches, with the Burrowed Tunneling Claw Roaches as well. And that wasn't just dealing damage, it wasn't just killing workers and killing queens, it was also forcing supply to stay at home. It was forcing soO to turn back around with usually a larger amount of roaches to defend against the small amount of harassing roaches. And that meant that the main army was that much weaker. That's why soO was able to gain ground. That's why he was able to eventually push through and just have better engagements overall. GG. GG, well played. A solid game there out of soO. And with that, we're getting into the ace match. We're getting into game number 3. Oh my god! What were the vetoes? Game 3 is going to be on Radis's Station. They're animals, Papi. They're animals. Let's go. Okay, we're going to be wandering. We're going to be waddling into Radis's Station, the largest map in the map pool. One of the most unorthodox maps in quite some time, in quite a number of seasons. The most vetoed map in the map pool. Let's go. Let us go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Radis's Station, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg representing Team Vitality. It is soO. And spawning. Oh, going for 15-15. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, currently teamless, looking for a team. It is soO. Here we go. Now, I'm not overly fond of what soO is doing here in the early game. So soO is going for a very safe opener. He's going for a 15-15. 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool into delayed gases. Now, on the one hand, gas isn't very important on Radis's Station because rush distance is so long, because the natural is so defendable, because we get a free pocket base. Gas isn't really a priority here. So on that end, you know, I kind of like this. On the other hand, though, just a straight up like gasless opener may be a little bit better. I guess it's riskier. The opener that soO went for essentially in game number 2. It is a little bit riskier, but Dark does it often. Something that we've seen a lot from Dark on this map in ZvZ is opening up gasless, just because Radis's Station can be a game of greed. You just be as greedy as possible, open up gases, you know, get up to 3 base saturation, take your gases, then, you know, get into the late game, right? There's just so many bases to take. Rush distance is so long, it's so hard to be aggressive. May as well just be as greedy as possible. Solar, a little bit of middle of the road here. Goes for a safe opener. Is going gasless though. Let's go. We spoke about it. That's what he's doing. No gases in the main, no gases at the natural. Third base is being taken. If you're a Zerg player out there, if you find yourself in a ZvZ on Radisson Station, I do like this a lot. Gasless openers are quite commonplace amongst the pro Zerg players in ZvZ, just because, as we mentioned, link speed isn't important. soO went for a hatch gas pool, standard opener. It's good, it's a standard opener, but again, what is link speed really doing for you right now? Because this map is so defendable, because there's a ramp coming into the natural, you can wall off here with Evo Chamber, Roach Warren, the Queen. Map control and link speed doesn't really, give you anything in a ZvZ here, which is why Solar just avoids it. So in the openers, I do like Solar's position a lot more than soO's. We can see soO now getting into his third base as well, but again, he isn't cutting as many corners as Solar is, as we should be just easing into the mid game. There shouldn't be any Ling Bane aggression here. There shouldn't be any Ling Bane aggression between our players. This is going to come down to either the Roach v Roach or the Muta versus Muta. Mutas are quite commonplace and they're quite popular on this map as well, just because of how large it is, because there's a lot of room to maneuver. I would not be surprised if one of our players tries to play Muta. As Soul's taking his gases here at the natural, Ling Scout comes in, just confirming the opener, confirming the greed, does get eyes on the third base. Roach Warren has been thrown down. Now, just because we have a Roach Warren doesn't mean it's going to be Roach play. As we mentioned before, this could just be the wall that we're producing, and we can still go into mutas behind this. As the wall was disrupted from there, we go. Wall was disrupted, but the wall is now getting up and running. Behind this, we're just droning. We should soon be taking our gases in the main base, and we're just chilling here. Again, it's typically not worth being overly aggressive in the early to mid game on this map. There's just so much working against you. Lair is on the way. We have +1 range from soO and +1 range from Solar, so it looks like Roach play. Now, we could, if we wanted to, go even greedier than this. Roaches are on the horizon, true, but I would not be surprised. It doesn't have to be mutas. We could see a player rush into something different, like Hydras. Like Hydras into Lurkers into Hive Tech. Again, I expect the mid game to be relatively passive between these two players because of the map. So I'm going to be keeping my eye out again for something like a higher form of tech, whether it's an Infestation Pit, a Spire, or a Hydra Den. Slayers are finishing up. They are soon to be finishing up, focusing on our upgrades. Roach speed should be on the way for both players. Again, Roaches will still be the bread and butter of our composition of our players. So Roach speed is on the way. Overlord speed on the way by soO. Interesting. This may just be for scouting. Yeah, Overseers are in production, so it's just going to be for scouting. Eventually for Drop Lord Harass as well. That will help, as Overlord speed is also on the way from Solar as well. So far, both players on similar courses. They are on similar courses. Again, in the end, Solar was more efficient, so I do kind of like his position a little bit more overall. But we'll see where this does take us. As the Overseer is being forced back, Drop Lord on the way. And there's the tech that we were looking for. We mentioned we're looking for a Hydrogen, a Spire, or an Infestation Pit. And there it is. The pit is on the way. This will be for Fast Hive. This will be for Hive Tech, for Lurker Tech. For Vipers and Lurkers, basically. So Solar is already working on the late game. Meanwhile, soO is still focusing on the mid game instead. soO is taking a 4th base, that is true. Solar, he already has a 4th, well underway. But it looks like soO is going to be focusing on a Roach Ravager push. Otherwise, we would have seen another form of tech already. So soO is going to be building and maxing out here on Roach Ravager. 1-1 finishing up, 2-2 on the way, soon to be on the way. Again, soO's doing something similar, but there it is. There's the Fast Hive, there's the Hydra Den. We are going towards Lurkers. Hydra Lurker Viper, or Roach Hydra Lurker Viper, is the late game of ZvZ. It's what you want, it's incredibly efficient, very effective. As Jobalot Harass is coming in, we get 2 workers and we're keeping soO busy. Oh, this is a little bit brutal here. Again, you can see how much of the army is stuck at home for soO. Coming in with an Overseer. He scouted earlier. He saw the lair, didn't see any tech. There's the Lurker Den on the way. This is dangerous. soO has to hit now. He has to max out and push soon. Otherwise, soO will just be outscaled. He'll just be stuck with a subpar army. There it is. Ravagers are on the way. soO is about to max out, and we gotta go. Meanwhile, Solar throwing down some Spine Crawlers back at his 4th base. Now, because Solar has been spending resources on all of this tech, it does mean that his main army is a little bit lacking here. We're still maxing out. We're mixing in a couple of Hydras. But here comes soO. And again, he's on a timer, and I'm concerned that he missed his window. I'm concerned that this is too late. Like, the Jobalot Harass bought a lot of time. It bought a lot of time. Speaking of, we do have a Jobalot here into that pocket base of Solar. Gonna be dragging him away. Main army's gonna be clashing. We do get 5 drone kills in the pocket base, forcing big reactions. soO trying to push through. Lurker Den is about to finish. Here, and as we did mention, soO needs to push through here and now. Like, now we have an infestation bit for soO, but it's so late. It's so incredibly late here for our Red Zerg player. And he isn't able to gain any ground. Again, like the ramps, the high ground, the long rush distance. As we mentioned at the start of the game, the reason why you skip Ling Bane on Radisson Station is also one of the big reasons why you rush into Lurkers, because it's so difficult to assert yourself and so difficult to break a defending player on this map. Not impossible, but difficult, and we can see that difficulty shown by soO as he's trying to break through and having a hard time doing so. Lurkers, they're already out. It's too late. The Lurkers have arrived. Yeah, big spine shots going off on the Roach army. And we have a Nidus Worm on the way, and that's so we can counterattack. We can just go for the Nidus into the pocket base, into the main base, wherever we so choose. And go for a massive counterattack. At the same time, here comes some Roaches from Solar. Does push in, catches some Queens, catches some Roaches. Yeah, Solar, he is able to drag away the army, able to trade very nicely here with this army, with those Roaches. He hasn't gone for the Nidus yet, but again, he's already got the tech that he wants. Even though we can see Solar still here back at home, he's not wasting his time. He's still making more Lurkers. He's working on Lurker upgrades. We have Hydra upgrades on the way as well. Like, his army over time is getting better and better. Nidus Swarm into the pocket. And where's the Roach army? soO, he's out of position. Late reaction, late response. The Nidus will finish, and the Lurkers can pop out. Now, how many do we get? That's quite a lot of Lurkers. Files are going to be connecting. Can we trade well, though? As Solar tries to collapse on... Sorry, as soO tries to collapse on this. More Lurkers pop out. The Nidus lives! The Nidus does live, and we take control of the pocket base, and this is meant to be the kill move. The checkmate move here from Solar. Yeah, he crushes the army. We can see soO plummet in supply. GG gets called, and Solar will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, very well played here by Solar. Again, making full use of the map. Again, a bit of a PSA if you want to unveto Radisson Station out there. If you want to play like Solar, like that's just like textbook Radisson Station, you know. He opened up gasless, he took his 3rd base, took his 4th base very quickly, he went straight into Roach play, and he went straight into Lurkers from there. Just rush into that higher form of tech, which is something that you can do on Radisson Station because it's so difficult to be aggressive early on. We saw that soO moved out with his Roaches, but could not break the defensive line of Solar and couldn't punish him before he got into Lurkers. Now, to be fair, I also want to attribute a bit of that to soLo's drop harass. If you remember, the drop harass was buying time, and it's possible that if solar wasn't going for drop harass, then maybe soO is able to hit earlier, is able to hit harder, and maybe soO breaks solar. Maybe that occurs if there wasn't drop harass. It's possible, it's possible. But regardless, like, there was a lot of pressure on soO. There was a lot of pressure on him because he was just behind tech-wise. He was just all in, essentially. Essentially, soO was like 4 base all in, which is a weird thing to say, but he was just that far behind tech-wise with the Hive tech, with the lurkers, with the upgrades, with the Hydras. There was just so much working against him there. So very well done by solar. Again, my PSA, my public service announcement is that don't play like that on other maps. don't do what solar did on like Hard Lead or Golden Aura or Oceanborn, because you'll just get killed. It'll just it's very unique to some of these larger maps. You can maybe get away with it on a map like Equilibrium. Not even. The goal base changes things, so not even on Equilibrium. Maybe on Alcyone, maybe. Not even, because the goal base. The problem with Equilibrium and Alcyone is that they both have goal bases, which means like you can just rush into the gold and go for all-ins, or be up against all-ins. I said, never mind. Never mind. Regardless, GG, well played. solar, he will advance on into the next round, into, I believe, the quarterfinals, into the round of 8, where he has his next opponent. We're going to be following solar into his ZvP up against Stats.